Super Smash Bros.
Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bagmail.
Now let's start the show.
Thank you. What's the deal with clone characters in Super Smash Bros? They're like already existing characters with the ground. I mean, it's just weird, isn't it? That they just decided to do that. I guess I want to explain myself a little bit more. Of course, I'm going to assume you kind of know about Super Smash Bros. It's a platforming kind of tournament fighter, and you're using all these different Nintendo characters mostly, knocking each other around with all your attacks, trying to knock each other off the stages. It's just cool. It's fun. You should look it up if you don't know about it. I did reviews and stuff. You can look those up and everything. But whatever. If you're looking at this video, chances are pretty good you already know what the fuck Super Smash Bros. Is by now. It's a series that's been around for a while. That is on you. But, okay, so the thing with clone characters is that they're basically characters that have practically the same set of moves as another character. And I guess, your definition of like a clone character, or who you will consider a clone character or not, also depends on person to person. I think of a big one I've heard about too is like in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where it's like Fox, Falco, and Wolf are all considered to be clone characters sometimes, but sometimes they aren't. And I don't know, they have similar moves, and I guess I've gotten pretty lenient on the idea, if they're, notably different, if they have enough of a difference, then I guess it's okay, and then it's not too bad, because having the same moves as someone in the same universe sort of makes sense, but as long as it's not exactly the same, then I guess it's more acceptable to me. So, yes, in Melee, you've got Fox and Falco, basically have the same moves, and they work pretty similarly. Falco is slower, but most of his moves are pretty much the same thing as Fox's moves. So, they're pretty close to being clone characters, and I would say that's probably close enough to count for me. Pikachu and Pichu have basically the same moves. There's a slightly different property, Pichu is smaller and does damage to itself, but, other than that, they're mostly the same. So, I guess I would call them clone characters as well. That's even more so, I guess. Also in Melee, there was Mario and Dr. Mario, and at that point, they were, as far as I could tell, they were pretty much clone characters as well. I don't know, and it's kind of a thing where it's I guess in Melee, maybe it was a thing to save space on the disc, because there's a lot of shit on the game, so it's okay, we're gonna make these characters, we're gonna have them have the same kind of moves and stuff, because it's easier to program them that way. What's a weird one, though, is that they put in Ganondorf into Melee, and he has basically the same moveset as Captain Falcon, which is bizarre because they're totally different universes. Not to mention, how the fuck did Captain Falcon get those powers in the first place? Does he have superpowers in the F-Zero games, even though he's a bounty hunting racer? I don't fucking know. At least, Ganondorf, does magic, so it kind of makes sense that he could have some, techniques, but does he do any of this shit in the game? No. But the point is, it's weird that these two would have the same stuff, but I guess that's not the point. The point is that... Sorry, this is a transitionary thing I sometimes say, but the point is more they have pretty much the same moveset as far as the things they do. It's just that Captain Falcon is a lot faster, but his attacks are a lot lighter. Whereas while Ganondorf is much slower than Captain Falcon, his attacks are a lot stronger. And that's the basic difference. And I guess there's such an exaggerated difference between them that I find that it's more acceptable. It makes more sense that they would be like that. So, I guess that's how I would land on that one. Then you go into Brawl, and again, it's I think they did a better job with that for a lot of them. It's Mario and Luigi have always been kind of close, but they've always had enough moves that are different. The up B and down B are similar in the way they look, but they have different properties. And there's those up special, down special, there's standard special. Luigi has a way different side special, and he's got most of his attacks are like notably different in the way they work as well. So I don't know. But like in Brawl, the big thing I think was like the argument of like Fox, Falco, and Wolf, and they all have very similar moves. They all have a gun they shoot. They all have a deflector. They all have a dashy over special and like a fiery up special. So a lot of people were comparing them, but it's like most of their smashes and like their standard attacks are different. Like notably different, like looking, positioning, a lot of the properties of them. Fox is very fast, Wolf is very slow, and Falco is in the middle of them. They have different other moves, like, and I don't know, like the guns, there's like Fox just shoots really fast, but nobody flinches. Falco's is kind of slow, but it goes a decent range, it hits people, it makes them flinch a little bit, and Wolf's is pretty short range, but it hit people when he shoots it, and also it's a lot just like stronger. And I feel like the deflectors, like Wolf's, I don't believe hurts anyone if they're right next to him. I could be wrong with that, but I don't think it does. Falco shoots his out in front of him, and then Fox just has it around him, and he can hurt people with it. So, like, they're I don't know. Basically, what I'm saying is that there are differences between them. There are enough differences where they don't really feel like clone characters. And if you're going to say that Wolf is different enough from them to... it's because their side things are, like... I guess those are pretty much the same between Fox and Falco, but Wolf's is, like, a dart upwards, kind of. Their up Bs are relatively the same, though. Anyways, the point is, I guess, Wolf's up special does like a little combo thing and kicks him at the end of it. Probably going into way too much detail on that, but the point is, like, if you're gonna be calling, like, Wolf a clone, like, then, I don't know, like, I guess, like, so many things different, it's hard to. But, like, then where you draw the line is, like, there's a lot of characters that are clones of other ones if you're going to do that because they have somewhat similar movesets, like Mario and Luigi, and like, I don't know, it's, like, it's so different, like, you can't. But then, again, if you're going to say that Wolf is not a clone, because, like, I mean, his moves are obviously derived from the same set of moves, but if you're going to say that he's not a clone, you also have to admit that Falco is not a clone, because, again, while his moves are derived from the same set of moves, and they're also derived from the previous game where he had a much more similar set of moves. His moves are still notably different in both their execution, like their positioning and what they do, and they're also different enough in their like properties of like speed, damage, and all that. They're different enough from Fox's where neither one of these is a clone character of Fox at this point. So that's I guess that's something I thought was worth noting. And I think they did a better job with the clone characters there, for most of them. I guess like Toon Link is kind of similar to Link, and like Melee, there was Young Link and Link were pretty similar movesets. But it makes sense because they're both Link, so I guess that I almost give that a pass. It's a little lazy, but again, like, you have different moves, a lot of different like moves as Toon Link than Link, so I find it a little more acceptable. And then you have the newest Smash Bros, and this is where it kind of pissed me off, is because this newest Smash Bros, or I guess the 3DS one anyways, there's like almost 50 characters in there in the base game alone. And it's like, I'm sorry this episode is of Watch the Sam so long, but I really want to explain this shit here. I'm trying to get my point out. Is like you look at the newer Smash Bros, and it's like, okay, so it's got these characters, right? It's got all these characters. It's all cool. It's got to have all these different characters in it and stuff. And you think they would try to learn from the mistakes of the past, like they have. They took out pratfalls from the previous game, and they've made it so it looks a lot brighter in this one. They've tried to make it more balanced, so that it doesn't feel like some characters are super a really good advantage against certain characters on certain stages, while others have a really big disadvantage versus certain characters on certain stages. They've really tried to balance it up so it's way less about just totally random chance. And they've made it so it's also good for competitive players as well as people who just want to have fun. And all this other great stuff they put into it. So you're like, okay, they clearly are paying a lot of attention to this, and they're I don't know, it's good. There's clearly a lot of care put into this, and a lot of listening to feedback, I think, in this one. And the problem, though, is like with clone characters, is that it's a thing again, where you have, I guess the main ones I'm thinking of, there is Mario and Dr. Mario. There's Marth and Lucina, and then there's Pit and Dark Pit. I think were the main ones that I noticed. Because again, most of the other characters are differentiated enough. So I think like Marth and Lucina probably have the biggest gap on them just because of maybe not, I don't know, like Marth and Lucina have a difference of like they basically do all the same stuff except that Lucina's attacks instead of like because with Marth if you hit someone with the tip of your sword it does more damage, and I think Lucina does overall less damage, but you have the same like equal damage throughout the entire sword. That's the only difference aside from Lucina being a hot girl. So like that's really the difference. And it's like with Mario and Dr. Mario, it's like Dr. Mario has like shoots out these little vitamin things, those power pills or whatever the fuck they are, mega vitamins, and it shoots those out, and like I guess they have a slightly different kind of like pattern, and they might have a different effect than the fireballs. That and then the down special is for Mario, you take out Flood and you charge up, and then you can shoot out water with it. Whereas Dr. Mario just does the spin, the Mario Tornado thing, or I guess it's called Dr. Tornado in there, or whatever. Like that's the main difference between them. Also, Dr. Mario I think is a little bit slower, but does more damage. So at least there's a little something there, but it's very slight, and it's like it was hardly noticeable. Like I had to really like look into it to figure out what was even different between them. And then of course there's Pit and Dark Pit, which I think are probably the worst on it because as far as I could tell, pretty much all the moves are the same. I guess their arrows work slightly differently, and Dark Pit does more damage, like slightly more, I guess. And again, it's like, if you're going to do this, you have to make it recognizable. You have to make them notably different. And I think that was kind of the problem, where it's like, you look at Captain Falcon and Ganondorf, and it's like, well, they still share a lot of the same moves. Captain Falcon is a lot faster, like notably faster and weaker, while Ganondorf is notably slower and stronger. There's a lot of clear differences. There's also some other properties with some of their attacks as well. And it feels like they just kind of threw it out the window. It's like, we ran out of time, we gotta just have some other characters in here. And, like, really, Dark Pit, Lucina, and Dr. Mario, they all could have just been palette swaps. It could have been, a different skin choice for these characters. Like, you had different ones for, like, Wario has a totally different outfit. Some of them have totally different outfits. Olimar has Alf as some alternate skins on him. It's like, why not just do that? If you're going to be so similar, is there any point to really, is there a point to adding in a whole other character slot, taking up a character slot, just to have someone who's basically the same as another character that already exists in the game? Is that really worth your time to do? And that, I guess that's what bothers me, is I feel like these slots could be used for somebody that was totally different. If they didn't have enough characters ready, they want to have so many characters in, and they didn't have enough of them done or ready to go, you can just hold off and, like, give them to us later. Really, I wish we were still, obviously they're fine with doing that with the idea of giving us characters later, because, got all the fucking DLC shit. Even though we probably should have just got that. It should have just been part of the game whenever they finished it, patch it in. But no, they'll sell it back to you for, an overpriced amount. Oh, it's good for DLC, I guess. It's still shitty pricing on it if you look at how much the fucking base game is worth compared to the fucking DLC. But anyways, that's a totally different thing. But I guess I just find that clone characters seem like, at this point, just a really lazy thing. Like, after so much work was put into the games, why were they so lazy with these clone characters? Why not just put in a new character, give them some new moves, and, like, make them notably different? Make there some kind of reason to have this extra character, not just to have a whole other set of skins. It's stupid, and I really wish they would have, I just wish they would have designed that better, especially by now, where it's like, clearly they understand what's going on, they've heard feedback. You think they would have got caught on that, like, clone characters are fucking annoying. And at least, I will say that at least, like, Dr. Mario gets a little bit of a pass, not a total pass, but a little bit of a little bit of a pass, because it's like, well, he was in Melee, and people liked him, I guess. We'll put him in. Okay, like, fine, whatever then. It's still stupid, but okay. Dark Pit comes from Like, he's supposed to be like Pit, I guess. So, makes sense. But it'd be kind of be like having a Dark Link character and just making it, the same moveset as Link. Like, it would be kind of stupid. It would make sense with the lore of everything, but it's still fucking stupid. And Lucina, I guess, is supposed to kind of be like... I don't know the canon of those games. I never played Fire Emblem games. I think she's supposed to be like Marth from a different timeline or some shit, or she's pretending to be him, or whatever the fuck. So again, like, even if stuff makes sense within the realm of, like, the games, like the Smash series, or just the games that they come from, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a good idea to put them in the fucking game. Just fix those things. But maybe that'll happen in the next Smash Bros. Whenever the fuck that happens. So, what's the deal with clone characters in the Smash Bros. Games? They're like new characters with the ground.
What's the deal with Sam? 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 Super Smash Bros.